I'm Charlotte McLeod with the Investing News Network, and here today with me is Bryce Bradley, CEO of Thunderstruck Resources. Thanks so much for joining me today.
Thank you, Charlotte. It's nice to see you again in New York.
Of course, yes, we're here at Mines and Money, and you actually just participated in a pitch battle with Sphinx Resources and American Kumo Mining. Can you tell me about it? Yes. Can you tell me how it went for you?
Well, I won,
Yes.
so that I think is the most important fact that we can take away from this. But it was actually really exciting. So I had 3 minutes to pitch to the audience and to 4 judges, and then they pummeled us and judged me for another 10 minutes and hit me with hard questions. They did the same with the other 2 companies, and then they voted individually on who they would give theoretically $1 million investment to. And it happened to be me, so it ended up being very, very good. What I won was a free exhibit and a speaking engagement at the London Mines and Money, which is at the end of November. I wasn't planning to go because it's very expensive, but now I'm definitely going to reconsider.
That's great. It was very intense. Can you, just for those who don't know, give me a quick reminder about your properties and the news surrounding those right now?
Yeah, so we have 178 square kilometers of 4 main assets, high-grade zinc, copper, and gold assets in Fiji. And we've just commenced our exploration season about a couple weeks ago. It generally runs from May through November. We have 2 crews on the ground working on we have a copper porphyry, a gold asset, and 2 high-grade zinc copper VMS assets. Anglo worked on them in the late 70s, returned grades of 12% zinc and 2% copper. We have all of their data, and so we're using that data right now to get back on the land. This is our first real season since permitting and paying for them 100%, where we have all 4 of these under our control. And we have crews on the ground building roads to the gold asset and to the copper porphyry, doing some mapping, trenching, surface geochemical work, and an IP program, and then hopefully some drilling later on in the season. Once they get the drill targets, we need to twin stuff and just see what we have.
There are lots of good questions, I think, that came up at this pitch battle. I really liked your answer about jurisdiction. Why Fiji? Could you expand on that?
Yes, no problem. A lot of people ask me now about why would you pick Fiji, and the answer is really I didn't pick it. It picked us. Who were looking at lots of different commodities across around the world, and because Fiji is so remote, and it hasn't been picked over like other countries like Canada and the U.S. and countries that are easier to get to. However, it has been mining for almost 100 years, so it has all of the good stuff like the infrastructure, and it has all of the infrastructure is a mining-friendly government. They know how this works. They adhere to British mining law, so they've got everything organized, and they have people that know how to work in mining. They've been doing it for 100 years, but yet it hasn't been overexplored. So we came across some spectacular assets. Mm-hmm. The majors were in there in the past 50 years. As I mentioned, Anglo. Newcrest is in the country now. Mitsubishi's in the country. There's a lot of majors, but there's still a lot to be had. So we got to pick these up for very, very cheap price.
You also spoke a little bit about your background and why you really want to make this company work and how you're doing that.
Yeah, sure. So I started out marketing mining companies. I'm not a geologist, but through that process, working in various capacities as investor relations and corporate development, I got to learn a lot about the space. I also developed a large network in taking these companies on roadshows. It then made no sense to me that on these roadshows, companies were raising millions of dollars, but I never could get any commission or anything like this. So that led to me wanting to get my designations as an investment banker as well, and I started a small investment bank in Toronto with partners, and in order to be able to take commission and broker warrants. And then from that problem, yes, I was making a lot of money, but I couldn't control or have any influence really on how these mining companies were spending their money, and so that would sometimes jeopardize my contacts if the company was misspending what was given to them. So then it led me to the next brilliant idea that I should just start my own company, which I did co-found with Brian London, who writes the Gold Newsletter and runs New Orleans Investment Conference. This is my first company that I've been running, but also means that it has to work. It has to work. This will be my first win. Everyone's had a first time, and this I'm still waiting for mine. So.
Okay, that's great. I have one final question, and this was one that came up not for you at the pitch battle, but for somebody else. What could go wrong with the company, with the project? How would you answer that question?
What could go wrong with the company or the project? Well, it's managed well, so corporately I don't think anything could really go wrong. But as far as the projects, although we have a great degree of certainty of what the grade is and the prospectivity of all four of these assets, it's quite possible, even though we're de-risking them with each month, every more work that we do, every single time we do work, we just seem to be finding high grade minerals. So this is all good stuff. However, it could be that we end up spending millions of dollars and a lot of time, and we do find out that these projects just don't have the size potential. That's possible. Mm-hmm. There's very little country risk these days, and but there's also a limitless number of other things that could go wrong just globally that could happen that could kill exploration. That's why we have to have thick skin.
Yeah, really, it sounds like it's going pretty well.
It really is going well. We're going to have news flow now, starting now, all the way through November, so shareholders will be able to keep apprised of our progress, and we're in talks still with joint venture partners. We're not depending on that for this season. We hope something happens on one of the assets. If it doesn't, that's totally fine too, because we're doing a lot of work now.
Okay, well, thanks so much. I think that was all really helpful for investors. Once again, I'm Charlotte McLeod with the Investing News Network, and this is Bryce Bradley of Thunderstruck Resources.